Hi, this is Tech Support by RD, and in this video I'm going to show you the repeat header rows function for tables in Microsoft Word. Let's say you have a table that contains a lot of data and it spans multiple pages. For example, this table that we have here in this particular document has a first name, a last name, an occupation, and whatever university they're from. And as I scroll down the document, you can see that this actually spans several pages, and it's even easier to see if I zoom out. Okay, that's too far, but you get the point. So this is a Word document with a table spanning several pages. And as you can see, as I go through, let's say, the middle pages here, you might not be able to tell easily at a glance what each column is for. Here in this particular example, you can kind of tell that this is a first name, this is a last name, this is an occupation, and this is an educational institution, a college or a university. But you kind of have to go through, read the data one by one to know what each of these are for. And if you're working with other pieces of data that have similar information, like prices or metrics or quantities of some kind, it may become even harder to tell what the pieces of data are for. Now, one solution is to repeat the headers from page 1. So first, last, occupation, university, you might want to repeat those on succeeding pages. But most of you might be thinking, oh my gosh, I have to split this table here, and I go through each of these one by one and add those headers, and that will even be worse if I need to add something or remove something from the table in the future. Turns out, in Microsoft Word, when you're working with tables, there's an option to repeat header rows. So it can be one row or two rows or a bunch of rows in your document that will appear on all pages where that table appears. So that way it will be even easier to tell at a glance, even if you're in the middle of a table, like let's say you're in page 5 or something. So to do that, select your table, and this is important. Make sure you select at least the first row that you would want to become the header. If you select something in the middle, this will not work for reasons that will become clear in a moment. Then once your table is selected, or the first row is selected, it doesn't matter which column, it can be here as long as it's in the first row. We go to the layout group, which is this other tab that appears whenever you have a table selected. And this is the command we need, repeat header rows. And according to the description here, it tells us that it will allow us to mark multiple rows as header rows. And if your table spans multiple pages, header rows appear on every page for easy reference. If I click that, doesn't look like something has happened, but if I go to our second page, you'd see that header row is reflected across all succeeding pages. So you can quickly tell, oh, this third column lists occupations. And this is very helpful, especially if you're working with a very long table that has multiple pieces that has similar looking information, and you need to tell at a glance, especially if you're in the middle of a document like this. Now, one thing to be aware of is that you won't be able to edit row 1 if you're in the middle of a table, so to speak. So for example, I'm on page 2, and even though it seems that I can click on these headers, I can't. So if you need to change these pieces of text above, you'll actually have to go to the very beginning of the table. But don't worry, any changes that you make here will reflect across the entire document. So you only have one place to change the header row, instead of going through each page one by one, which you would split the table and go through, which is a lot of work. So in this case, I want to say first name here. Now remember, we're on the very first row of the table on page 1. So if this doesn't work, if you're not able to select this means that you're in the middle of the table. You're not at the very beginning. Okay, last name. Okay, we'll leave occupation alone, and university, let's change this to something more generic, or let's add something here, university/college, and we'll leave occupation alone. And as I Scroll down. I've made my changes. You can see it's automatically reflected on all succeeding pages. Okay, now one more question is, am I able to repeat more than one row? Yes, you can. So for this example, I'm going to highlight these two rows, basic text selection, and I'm going to hit repeat header rows again. And as I scroll down, you'll see that not only is first name, but Muffin Fontel will also appear here as well because it's a header row. Now, you may have noticed that as I did that command, this cell, which used to be part of the data in the table, or this row rather, changed style. It turns out that if you have a table design active, like with this particular table, which you can select here, it will format those cells to become header rows as well. So this option essentially allows us to repeat that. So to undo that, deselect it, and we need to, it goes back to what it was. So that's it. That's the use of the repeat header rows feature under the data group here in Microsoft Word. One last thing, you can repeat multiple header rows, but these header rows must be at least the first, or it can be multiple rows after, but they must be consecutive rows at the very top of your spreadsheet, of your table rather, not a spreadsheet. So that's it. That's repeat header rows in Microsoft Word. And when you print this document, easy to tell at a glance. And you don't have to do any magical nonsense like using split tables and messing up the layout of your document even further. Hope this tip has been helpful. Thanks for watching.